like Meatloaf Bailey, what a PR stunt. Look at me, guys. Yeah, I would do anything for pound notes. And I'm going to sit in a restaurant and I'm going to look like, oh, I'm proper Chels and I love Chelsea. And this is all on Siri Merchant and Barley. What a load of bollocks.
Greetings from Centre Parks, by the way. That's the background. I hope you're all well. This is just ridiculous, though, isn't it?
Oh, are you fucking having me on? Are you joking me right now? That's how deep that. This is how far they reach. Let me smoke that for you, Siri Merchant. Yeah. Let me smoke that for you, Ted Lasso-Bowley. Yeah. You think you can fool us? You're a long way from Starbucks, mate. Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Let's have it right. This is not Chels. So have it right, up the Chels, up the Minerals FC. Big up to every single one of you live and locked in. Hope everyone's doing well in live. First and foremost, I want you all smash pieces that like button if you haven't already. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, make sure you do that as well. We've got the notification bell, ding dong, so have it right so you know when we go live. And we've got the Minerals FC Ultras membership pinned at the top live chat and down below. And we've also got Eunice Talks Football's channel, which is in the title, Civil War at Chels. Salute Eunice Talks Minerals, bruv. Have it right. And shout out our Chelsea old boys. We see things they'll never see. But big up to Eunice, bruv. Lovely to have you back on. He's come back from IB for everyone, so he's had plenty of fish bowls. He's had plenty of Benton's nights on the town, bruv. So yeah, light ales.
Oh mate, one hell of a break. Let's just say that, one hell of a break. But how's it all going? Hope you're all good. Hope everything's lush. Everyone in the chat, big up to all of you. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I've been looking forward to this one. Whilst I was away, it's all kicking off, and I was like, oh my goodness, bloody hell. I was like, I can't wait to talk to Johnny about this. So here we are. Here we are. It's going to be interesting, especially with what's just gone down as well in the last minutes. So, yeah.
Well, we'll speak on that. I think let's get to let's like dig out everything at the moment, because I'll tell you what, Eunice, yeah. We knew that there was certain issues with the ownership. You could tell from the get-go that Barley, Siri Merchant, and Joseph Feliciano, you know, it's more important to build business value than win and lose on the field. They were both spearheading and beachheading this kindergarten FC, this low wage structure cap, everything at the football club since really Jellyfish Potter got sacked and Carrington Winstanley and Stuart Little came into play. I knew it was toxic behind the scenes. I knew that it wasn't stable. I've been saying it for God knows how long. You know that. But this is the next level now where we actually have a loggerheads, a civil war, not just between, and this is why I've called it at Chelsea, because it's not just the ownership. It's also the fan base. So you've 100%. Got fan base divided. You've got now the ownership divided. You've probably even got players divided. You know, an example, Enzo Fernandez wearing the captaincy, the whole saga with that, the racism saga, and players that are not comfortable with that. There's a divide in the dressing room. So all the way through Chelsea, top to bottom, we have a divide and a civil war. And this, I've never seen this before. This is like, I've never seen a club being sanctioned, and I've never seen this happen so quickly in 2 years, bro. I mean, where do we start? Because, like, we'll talk about, like, who do we want? What do you think? But, like, let's just take your, because you were away, so just land your minerals on the whole situation, like how you see it,
mate. I think anyone with half a brain cell would have known that something was wrong. Something's off, right? For a while. And it doesn't just happen, you know, out of nowhere, out of the blue, that your results are just going down the drain, right? Your team's not playing well. Well, why? Well, just because that's just the way it is. Like that's not what happens, right? When things are unstable, and results are so up and down, or shall I say so down with a little bit of up, then it means that things are happening at the club. And it's always been that way, right? It can be because of the manager. It can be because of players between themselves. It can be because of a board. It can be because, in this case, of the owners. It can be of whatever, right? Something's going on. But we never really got to... So it always felt off. We always heard things. We always heard little bits and pieces, but there was never a confirmation as to like, what is the root cause at the football club? What is going on? Why does this team not want to start playing properly, right? And we've seen countless examples. I used the example earlier on in my video about when Jose fell out with the two doctors, if you remember, right? And then it became Jose versus Eva. Well, that affected the entire team. We ended up 15th at one point. Right? It happens. There's countless other examples where things start to go wrong. The team suffers. Conte with upstairs when he was in charge and it kicked off there, right? Boom. Team are not picking results up anymore. Something's always going down. You never get a stable environment with a stable backroom and the team just capitulates. That doesn't happen. Well, we've been so inconsistent left, right, and centre for nearly 3 years, right? There had to be a reason. We knew, and you've heard, I've said this for a little while, that behind the scenes is a shit show. I've heard it countless times from people that have either ended up within or have briefly gone in and seen how it is, and I'm not going to name names, but I get it all the time, it's mismanaged. 2 words, it's mismanaged, it's a shit show. I hear those 2 things all the time, right? It's no surprise now this has come out and in the way that it has. And we've never known what the real reason was, but now we know. Now we know. The owners are kicking off between themselves, right? And that filters down all the way throughout the club. So now we've got the answer. So when I heard all of this, I was like, well, I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised. I'm surprised it's the owners between themselves. That I wasn't expecting, right? I was expecting just really bad due diligence, really bad decision-making, naivety, but I didn't have them fighting each other on my bingo card. That wasn't there. But now we know. And it answers everything. Now it answers everything. I can't expect the team now to be able to play, consistently, in a nice manner, with harmony, peace of mind. Even Maresca, we know he's underqualified, or he's come from Leicester, or is he ready for this job? I feel bad for the geezer now. Like now, I'm like, bloody, what he's walked into this, he must be thinking, bloody hell, what have I come to? And we all kind of called it when he did walk in. We knew something would go down, just not this. So my thoughts now are the team are stuffed because of it, and I'm not expecting anything from them. Whatever happens, happens with them. I'm not going to go in on the team, the players, or Maresca now, like nothing. Whatever happens, happens. Because when this is kicking off above them, any work organization, when you got this going on above you, mate, you got no chance. You got no chance. And this isn't going to be sorted tomorrow or next week. This is going to take months if we're lucky, right? Because this is billions we're talking about on the table. And 2 figureheads, right, that are within the ownership group, and one has to give in. Yeah. Or, like you entertained, like I've entertained, I think there's a possibility for both of them to give in. And I hope that's the case. But let's wait and see. The problem now is the PR from both ends now. The journalists that are now showing what cards they hold and who they're tied to. Journalists are showing if they're tied to Bowley. Some journalists are now showing they're tied to Clear Lake. Now we're beginning to see what strings they've got. And a prime example of that is tonight. We've seen what's just happened tonight with the briefings. That's just an absolute calamity. But we're going to see a lot of that. You're going to see a lot of contradiction in terms of the articles coming out now. This side has got its PR machine. This side has got its PR machine. And they're just going to try and fight each other and see who comes out on top. So it's not going to end up nicely.
And that's a fact. And on that point of, well, the brown envelope matrix, it was bad enough when we just had it projected from what we saw as like the ownership altogether. Bowley saying we're due on course, just be patient, we're on track, trust the process, blah blah blah. Now you got a brown envelope divide as well as a fan base divide and an ownership divide. I've never seen anything like it in the history of football. Like I was saying to you, in sanctions, we ain't seen anything like it. But the funny thing to me is, if you thought the PR was relentless in terms of manipulating the fan base, mate, you haven't got a clue what's coming your way, because the PR in terms of trying to win the side of the fan base, win the psyche of the fan base, just for which ownership do you want to go with, which part of the consortium do you want to go with, is going to override the PR for the team. But if the team's not performing, I mean, the way these clowns run, they don't care about the football, so they'll probably go put that to the side anyway and go, look, the main thing is we need to make sure we have supporters on side. Now, argument's sake, Eunice, if the team's not performing, which we both don't expect it to perform under these circumstances, but you never know, right? But if the team's not performing and the results are getting bad, the supporters are going to get toxic even more, and there's going to be an even more bigger divide, all right? Well, who's going to look better in that situation? Bowley, because Bowley is being PR'd as, I didn't want to go with this structure, even though I signed it off as chairman.
True.
Have it right. True. And also Egbali's side are going to look bad, so the PR is going to affect them. So they'll have to literally
counter
lump on as much PR as possible to keep the supporters on side on footballing terms. But then you've got to talk about, I mean, the implications on, it's all down to the football. And I want to bring up Benson and Edges, all right, saying I don't want to pummel and speak about, you know, the ownership and call them Clown Lake and just be relentless with it and no surrender mentality with it. I want to talk about the game and the football. You can't. I mean, not only has it gone beyond that ages ago anyway, but it's gone beyond that now. This is like, I don't think Chelsea supporters realise, Eunice, this is the moment now where we have got the opportunity to save our football club from being furthermore destroyed, And what I mean by that is, it was bad enough dividing a fan base, which played into the hands of Clown Lake, And I call them Clown Lake because it's Bowley, Egbali, and Feliciano. Clown Lake. They're three ring circus. They're all together. They all sign everything off. They're all full aware of everything. And I'll get to why I think Bowley's had enough, which we'll get onto later, which backs up a lot of things. But basically, everyone talks about, give Bowley power, give him the ownership, give Egbali the ownership, who do you want to run the football club? Do you know who has the power? And I've said it countless times, and no one wants to listen. In this moment in time, the power is with the supporters. It actually is, for the first
time. Right now, it actually is.
It actually is. And they are even more scared of what could come their way if they don't play the PR right. If they play the PR wrongly, or it gets exposed, or let's say there's a divide in with the brown envelopes, Ben Jacobs goes, do you know what? I'm getting paid better by Bowley. I'm going to go onto that side. And Fabrizio's going, do you know what? I'm getting slandered by PR we're going ahead with the youth policy and it's all pro Clear Lake. Yeah, I might jump ship. And then all of a sudden, it's like, it's a civil war between the ownership and which brown envelopes they're pushing out to manipulate the supporters and bide them more time, because everything's about biding time. So my point is this, Eunice. If the supporters actually united and we're all on the same page, which we know at this moment in time is just like impossible, all right? Because there's too much at stake for these platforms, money-wise, career-wise, engagements and perks and all that crap. If you actually got enough supporters, and I'm talking about the match goers, with the help of the influence of the YouTube channels and the Twitter accounts, to go in one direction, and we actually protested, and I'm talking about a professional protest, to say Clear Lake out and Bowley and his consortium out. We don't want either of them. That straight away eliminates and obliterates any PR that they can throw anywhere they want to try and convince supporters support us. We'll take the club in the right direction. Because the reality is, they have done nothing for the last 2 years, coming into the third year, for us to trust them. They are the most untrustworthy owners, more untrustworthy than the Glazers, and even the Glazers haven't done this much damage in 2 years. So, that's where I stand with it. I actually believe we have the power right now where we've been gifted a divide upstairs, which plays into our hands perfectly, to actually say, do you know what? All of you get out. You're not fit. You're not fit to run Chelsea. You're unfit to run Chelsea. It doesn't matter what
it's true.
PR.
And you know what's interesting with this PR machine now? But prior to this, it was the PR must be fed to the fans, right? It was, one machine run by the ownership to dictate what the fans will hear and what the fans will know. Whereas now it's split between themselves to protect themselves against each other. For the first time, the fan base and go, this isn't aimed at us any longer now. This is going to be them not aiming at them lot and them lot aiming at them lot. And we get to take a back seat and just watch it all happen now, which is going to be interesting because, like you said, it's about protecting the image for them, and I'd say more so Clearlake rather than Bowley here. More Clearlake in terms of imaging,
because the percentage share.
Bowley is his own guy. Clearlake have an investment fund that they've got to protect here and investors on their back. So that's a bigger problem that they've got. The longer this goes on, the more this affects them. But it's going to be PR between themselves. And this is why, for the first time in a while, we get to see who's going to slip up, because someone will slip up. It's impossible to keep up a bunch of lies going on without something popping to the surface at some point. It's impossible. Someone's going to make a mistake, right? Someone's going to make a contradiction. It's already happened. We already saw it tonight in relation to the stadium stuff. There'll be more examples of that coming out. So it's going to be an interesting one, but you're right. The problem is, and you've mentioned this for a while, and I honestly believe this is a case as well. Many fans believe that these owners are tied in for 10 years.
Yes,
right?
Yes, have it. Come on, land it, bro. Land it.
I don't see how the logic is adding up in relation to that after what we've heard since this problem has arisen, right? The owners are now kicking off between themselves. Okay, so from the moment that happened last week, we've heard, Bowley can share his stake to Clearlake if he wanted to. So Bowley could be out. We've heard Clearlake could sell their stake to Bowley if they want, and they could be out. We've heard that Bowley could get investors on board to form a group to buy out Clearlake, which means that new people can come into the equation.
External, yeah.
So we've heard that new people can come into the equation. Bowley can sell his stake. Clearlake can sell their stake, but the owners can't leave for 10 years.
Waffle.
The maths are not adding.
Maths ain't mathing. And that's what I've been saying. Eunice, how long have I said to everyone? How long have I said they can sell the club? It's now come to the point where Ben Jacobs goes on a Twitter space and says it's a grey area. Why? Because if there's a bidding stipulation at some point and you can't come to an agreement, then you've got to basically both cut your losses or say, let's take our profits and walk, because you can't come to an agreement and you can't have this continuing any longer than what it's going to take right now. So therefore, if Bowley can get external investment from a third party that's not currently involved in the ownership, that straight away proves that there is no 10-year clause, all right, where they're stuck in for 10 years. What the 10-year clause was, what I was trying to educate people is, it's a 10-year Glazer clause. But the loophole in the Glazer clause, which is in terms of extracting money out of the club, is if you spend over the 1 billion.
The investment, the promise of the investment. Yeah,
right.
Which has been made. It's done.
It's done. So, and that's how they took the 2 hotels and they transferred it onto a sister company and all the real estate, etc. Right? But this is the thing. He said it's a grey area. Ben Jacobs, Toothpick Jacobs.
Yeah.
It's a grey area about whether they can both leave.
Yeah.
And now you're getting PR from Clearlake saying, no, we're not. We have to give permission as 61.5% ownership of the club. Whether you can get external investors, I don't buy that, because why would they stop Bowley from saying getting the money in to say, look, we'll pay you out and you'll make this profit? They won't do that. This is all tactical negotiations. They can't negotiate a mobile phone contract yet. They got to negotiate in terms of the transfer market, all right? But they got to negotiate with each other now, as well as have the season ongoing. So my thing is this, right? They can both sell, and they know it. But now their disguise has been revealed. The mask is off in terms of they're fixed for 10 years. The 10 years came from, which I stated a year ago, is they had a 10-year plan, which is Clearlake's 10-year plan. But if you paid attention to the PR from Bowley says, I want a 20, 30-year plan.
Yep.
He wants to be there longer because he knows he needs more than 10 years to build a stadium, because they never envisioned the CPO. And let's have it right, CPO, stand up tall, no surrender mentality. Don't let these clowns take one brick out of Stamford Bridge. You understand me? That's where I'm going, because that's our only saving grace right now, literally. But my point is this, Eunice, they can sell. So what would force them to sell is the question. What would force them to sell, aside from them at loggerheads and the bad PR? Well, where does the bad PR come from? The supporters. Because if the supporters actually protest and say, Clearlake, Bowley out, then, mate, there is no PR happy meals they can throw out to convince supporters we're the good guy, because you're both bad. You're both not healthy for this football club, and you've proved that by spending 1.5 billion and gutting everything that Roman Abramovich has built to make our club elite. You're just abusing our elite club and the heritage to implement your business model to make money. It's not about winning trophies. It's clear as day. Because if that was the case, you would have signed us Osimhen, mate, on transfer deadline day, which is where I want to kind of go with the whole how it's fallen apart. But you understand what I'm saying there, Eunice, in the sense that, and I hope everyone viewing understands, this is about collectively sending the message from the supporters, because you cannot tell me as a supporter that you are happy. Like John Obi Mikel comes out and says, we're at Chelsea in a happy place. No one can say, I'm happy, I trust this project solely, and we're on to great things, and the track record tells you that. No one can come out and say that. You're on blind faith. You're on hope.
Mate, but the false positivity was a bad thing in and of itself. But now, as you said, the mask has come off. Mate, they don't trust it themselves, in between themselves.
Exactly.
Right? Bowley doesn't trust Clearlake. Clearlake don't trust Bowley. How do you want us to trust the process? They can't even trust it themselves, in between themselves. That's listen, as you said, that mask has come off. But what I will say, this won't end soon. And this is going to be a long ride. And it'll be a long ride because I think Clearlake will try. I think Clearlake are banking on the hope that at some point Bowley folds, right? Sells up, and then Clearlake have 100%. If the longer that doesn't happen, the more damaging it becomes for Clearlake. And obviously, Bowley's not stupid. He knows that as well. And if he genuinely does have investors or people that are there in the waiting for him to just knock on their door and go, listen, do you want to make the move? We can do if you want. The longer it goes on, and he won't do that now, because it'd be silly for him to do that now. And listen, they're billionaires. They think on another level when it comes to this sort of thing. That's something we have to put our hands up for and go, listen, there's things that they know that we definitely don't know, right? But just out of my thinking, right, the longer this goes on, the more it helps Bowley and the less it helps Clearlake, because their hand at the negotiating table gets weaker and weaker and weaker. And why? Because they've got tons of investors as part of the Clearlake Fund that are waiting for their returns on their investment that they've put into the hands of Clearlake, the longer this goes on, it damages Clearlake, it damages it devalues a lot of things, and the investors get hurt. Yeah. Bowley's not stupid. Bowley knows that. But I'm sure Bowley has people he can knock on the door and right now and go, listen, do you want to do something? We can. But he'll wait. And this is why I'm saying, as long as he's waiting for that to happen and Clearlake are waiting for Bowley to fold, this is going to take a very long time. Very long time.
This 100% it will. I mean, no billion transaction. It's not like fucking Western Union, is it, Eunice? Let's have it right.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's not Western Union. I'm just going to send you a little something, and we move on. You're not buying some cobbler. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But this is what I'm saying. Listen to this, right? How many restructures would you say we've had so far?
About 25,000.
Right. And 1.5 billion spent in the process. What did Bowley come out and say? He says, need to restructure. He only wants one director, right?
He does, yeah. And he wants to let football people do their thing, which is refreshing.
Right. So let me ask this question of Bowley, right?
Yeah.
Meatloaf. I would do anything for pound notes. Let's ask Bowley this question. When you knew you were buying the club with a consortium, why did you not have a Michael Edwards who was available, ready in place to take the sporting director role? First question. And if you couldn't get him, which was the PR, and he wanted a sabbatical, you could have found someone else. You can't do that. Here's your third option. You don't go into the transfer window, playing sporting director yourself, spending 350 million without knowing what you're doing and getting your pants pulled down. All right? That's the first mistake. And that's where I question, why do I trust you when you're milking our club at 20 million a year as a chairman of our football club? And this was before you could extract any money out, by the way. So that was a loophole there. And you co-own the club. You know what you're buying. You come from sports. You're meant to be the face of the club. And clearly took a step back saying, all right, you take control and let's see where we go. Because Bowley was vouching for Potter. Bowley vouched to make the signings. Him and Iqbali sacked Tuchel. They both decided that because they have this culture in America of going in that dressing room and dictating and this and that, right? That's baseball if you research Moneyball. So if we go on that, no one really highlights that when you talk about Team Bowley.
Yeah.
Now, Iqbali, on the other hand, and I agree with Bowley in the sense of one director. Why have we got two? Because clearly got two. Iqbali wants two. But this is where the sports come in. Sports can't stand Carrington Winstanley and Stuart Little. They've destroyed us. But they're just yes men. They're puppets for Clearlake.
Which people now know.
We
Which
know
people
that.
Now, it's clear. Yeah,
right.
Finally.
So why would the supporters be in favour of Clearlake, even if they got 61.5% share? Why would you be in favour when you know what their structure is and you've seen where their structure's taken us? Where they penny pinched and didn't get the Osimhen deal done, which I know for facts, bruv. Yeah, let's have it right. Facts. Yeah, they penny pinched. And they sent Bowley as the bait. And they know that they got that in their back pocket, PR-wise, to mud the Bowley camp to say, well, he was in the negotiations. Iqbali wasn't there. And if Iqbali was there, we would have got the Osimhen deal done. But it's Iqbali that signs it off to say whether we can or can't pay him 240 grand a week. But the supporters they're not woke. You know what I'm saying? So there's plenty of pros and cons, but these are the glaring issues, bro. Glaring issues where I don't want these directors. And what upset me is John Obi Mikel is taking the Mikel out of us supporters because he was promoting Winstanley.
Winstanley, that shocked me, man.
It's shocking.
Yeah.
Because he's scared. He doesn't want to be, I think he's got a deal in the Osimhen deal. I think he's got a percentage because why would he be on transfer deadline day openly saying, I'm getting calls and I'm seeing where the deal's on and I'm up till 4 a.m. Ha, 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 ha. You wouldn't be doing that if you're just an ambassador, mate, right? You're there trying to liaise with Osimhen. You've been asked by Clown Lake to go to Osimhen, right? He's promoting the very things that are killing our football club. And this model that he's trying to say, oh, we're going in the right direction, all this, it's a happy place. It's a complete contradiction to the reality and the truth. It's absolute reverse. It's disgusting. And this is the game now. I mean, you either love Chelsea through and through, or you love the pound note. It's simply black and white like that. I don't see any other way. So for me, you've got restructuring to do that Bowley's promoting, right? He's saying, I need to restructure, is my point. Well, I've gone through all of this. He needs to restructure. Whereas Clearlake is saying, our structure's in place. Pawnstein's comes out. We need 4 transfer windows after the 1st September 2024, which we've passed. It will come to fruition. Well, it clearly ain't, because our squad's a shambles and the team's a joke in terms of core, structure, experience, all that. We're not ready to compete, a million miles away. So the PR now is safer bet with Clearlake. They got the percentage. They won't budge. And Bowley's got he's speaking what the supporters want to hear, which is a dangerous game, right? Mm-hmm. Let's have it right. Meatloaf Bowley went in Twitter Spaces, Eunice. He was liking tweets slandering Mason Mount and players. He's very socially involved. That an owner should not be doing that. No elite owner plays around with social media. They stay well away from it. My point I'm making is, yesterday it was announced that Egbali and Feliciano have 80 billion backing. And I laughed because I said to myself, if you've got 80 billion backing, right, why have you constructed this squad and spent 1.4 billion on this shit? That's the first thing. The second thing is, even if you wanted to spend 80 billion, you can't spend it because of PSR for the team's point of view. And in terms of a stadium, you can't go nowhere because of the Chelsea pitch owners.
Mate, just on that 80 billion, or it was 90, I think. It was 90 billion. That's as far as I'm concerned, that's just a false. It's a nothing. That's a nothing news as far as I'm concerned. Because Clearlake, right, who are an investment firm, have that fund of 90 billion that they're working with in terms of investors' assets that they are investing on their behalf. That's it. It doesn't mean Chelsea Football Club have access to 90 billion. That's what Clearlake are doing. That's not what Chelsea are doing. That can be done completely outside of football. So as far as I'm concerned, whoever's come out with that, and I think it was the Times, right? Again, Clearlake PR.
And
simple as that.
And if you're so rich with 80 billion backing, you fucking Siri merchant, why don't you buy the club yourself, mate? How about that? Why don't you go and buy the club if you've got 80 billion investment?
Mate, you make another point here. How come all of this that we're seeing now wasn't hashed out when we were negotiating to try and find new buyers? When they did form the consortium, was none of this spoken about at the time? I thought everyone was in harmony and everything had been sorted and everything was on paper and everything was agreed. And then we get here and now they're fighting each other because they don't agree on about 80 million different things. Was this not sorted before you bought the club? This is why when we started hearing about consortiums, I was like, listen, this could end badly, man. When you got too many cooks in the kitchen, this can end up in a really bad place. And here we are. We're now in a very bad place. But I'm surprised at how much we're hearing that's coming out now that wasn't hashed out at the very beginning. Exactly. Between themselves. Mental.
This is like when you say too many cooks in the kitchen. We were sold a dream that we got master chefs. You know what I'm saying? We got come dine with me microwave meals. That's what we got.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they're getting burnt to shit because honestly, if Bowley really wanted to buy the club, which he did try and buy the club, and Roman gave him the middle finger, let's have it right, because Roman would never have sold the club if it wasn't for the UK government. End of story. He wanted to hand it down to his son, and that's well-known, documented fact. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we would have had them all the way through for an entire legacy, for life, essentially. But Bowley's putting in 2.5 billion, and that 2.5 billion figure rings a bell. And I've said it before. Sounds like the 2.5 billion that's still in the bank from Roman Abramovich's 2.5 billion. Earning interest. How about he's not getting funded by Saudis? How about he's getting funded by the UK government? I fuck knows. Maybe he's just getting that money to launder it back into the club. You know, I mean, you can't put it past them.
Mate, you can't put it past them. 100%. 100%.
So, like, also, another point that was made, Eunice, right? If they do come to a stipulation, it could be a case where they have to get the approval of the UK government to allow them to sell. But where the politics differ in this situation is it's not a Russian owner, it's an American ownership consortium. It's Americanized.
No, of course,
American, UK, let's have it right. No problem.
Yeah.
We'll sort you right out. And are you going to bring us Saudi money? All right, we'll have some of that. What are they going to pay us directly?
I'd expect legally. Again, I say I expect because you never know with these lot. They probably bend over and go, yeah, no worries, do what you want, put what you want in the contract with the Rain Group there. But legally, no one that's in charge is sanctioned. No one that's in charge is on the run or being chased or whatever, or getting their assets seized. So realistically, if they were to sell, it can be like any normal transaction between anyone else, as long as the other party are not someone that's getting sanctioned or someone that's on a list. So you'd like to think that's the case. But the way that the deal was done at the beginning, right? And I emphasis from the very beginning, the way that this happened. Remember, look, Saudi media didn't get far in that takeover. They got eliminated, right? Jim Ratcliffe came out in the last minute, and the Rain Group were like, "Oh no, you can't enter this now. Like, no, you ain't coming in." Boom, stop him from his tracks. It was almost like the Rain Group and the government just had it nailed on. It had to be these guys. It had to be these guys.
Let's put it out there.
Well, can I just say real quick, the fact that we're seeing all of these issues arising now shows that there's many things that weren't discussed when they took over. It was almost like they were just put and go, no, we'll give it to you. Go on, just take it quick before something happens. That's the way that I see it now, because there was already skepticism back then as to, well, there's no one else really in this race. It's just this Bowley Clearlake consortium and that's it. Well, now we're seeing problems between themselves that they clearly didn't discuss when they before taking the club over. I wonder why.
I think this is all premeditated. And the reason I'm going to say premeditated, from Rain Group, the UK government, all right, let's argument's sake, Saudi Group was successful or Ratcliffe was successful. Do you think they would be looking to sell the club in 2-3 years?
No chance.
No, right. So doesn't it make sense to bring in a consortium, American, works for UK government, to rob Roman Abramovich's money, do what they've done, basically destroy the club, self-sabotage in a way where they're still making money, but they know they bought the club for a discounted price, 2.5 billion.
They did,
no matter what they do, in 2-3 years, they'll double, if not more than double their money, but just selling the club. So what if it is a ploy to literally take Roman's money, wash it through, and then get another owner in, where I feel like this consortium has no interest in Chelsea, don't love the game, only love money, but they've been industry plants put there to wash the amount of money that we're talking about. And I almost feel like this is a PR move with a civil war and a divide in the ownership. It's come out of nowhere to say, do you know what? It's too risky. The supporters are already on edge. And if this doesn't go well this year, we're finished. Let's create a divide upstairs to rattle the fan base, have them not know what to think. But with the complete focus and priority and mindset is to sell the club and double their money as a quick flip, which makes more sense to me. They will make more money flipping the club like this than all of this talk of, because Roman said it. He said it's too high risk in football and in sports to make money and profits. It's human commodity assets,
100%.
right? So a sport is more like a a wealthy elite who just wants to have fun. The majority of clubs that are successful have these types of owners. Like you look at Man City, you look at Roman Abramovich, self-made. Ratcliffe's is going to come in buying a small share, but eventually he's going to buy the Glazers out, and they've got full control on the sporting level. So they want to have fun. He says, Ratcliffe says, I've made enough money in oil and everything I do.
Yeah.
I'm here to make Man United great, because these billionaires make so much money that sometimes they need a kick in life. They want a challenge. And these guys are not about that. They're not cut from that cloth.
No.
They're not as rich as you think they are. And they're not as elite as you think they are. These guys are like small fry compared to Roman Abramovich. They might have the backing in assets, but in terms of disposable income and money's readies, yeah, they ain't got it. So this is where I want to put this down, Eunice, and see what you think about it, because it makes sense to me that they know in 2 years, bro, think about it, 2 years and you've doubled your money. I know you spent 1.5 billion, but don't forget, you've got all the real estate that you don't have to sell, that you own. That's profit right there, that you can knock down. We're hearing, before I let you land it, because it's just come to my mind, Bowley was looking at Real Madrid and how they got loads of training academies all over Europe and that. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense to me. Do you know why? Because they bought and sold Cobham to their sister company, their properties company, which hasn't been announced, but I know it and it's factual, like they did with the hotels. They did it in January. Well, what's to say they knocked down that academy? Go somewhere where it's cheaper overheads, cheaper land, rebuild that, and go and buy loads of little academies in Europe, have a youth system, all right, not in Cobham, so to speak, but multi-club it wise, okay, and build real estate where Cobham actually is and make tenfold on that. Like, this is how they work. They're vampires.
Yep. No, mate, and the fact that they've separated all those assets, the training ground, the women's team, the car park, the hotels, all of that is separate now. If a buyer were to come in, or someone that's interested in buying the club, they got to buy the club, and then it's up to, these lot to add all of those assets on top for even more added value. Here's the club at this value, but hang on, do you want the training ground? Do you want those hotels? Do you want that? Mate, they could just add on a massive lump sum.
Huge, bro.
It would be mental, because the real estate is huge and it's now separate from the club. So yeah, they could do that if they wanted to. Well, you never know.
You could sell
they could keep it all separate. They could keep it all separate. Yeah, they could. But I think it makes sense for any buyer to come in, especially if it's now, where if they're buying a football club, well, I'm sorry, I'm going to need a training ground, and I'm going to need, I'm going to need the women's team. So those will just be inflated values on top. It could be that, yeah.
And they'll go, do you know what? We've spent 1.4 billion, but actually we've brought in money. Don't forget they've made profit out of that 1.4 billion, right? So that 1.4 billion isn't at a loss. Yeah,
they could make up to 5 here, easy, 5.5,
right?
Easy.
And think Bowley knows this.
Yeah,
Bowley knows he's only got 13%, so he's not getting a big share out of this. No. Wise is 5%. He doesn't give a shit. He's richer than all of them put together, believe it or not, right? And Mark Waters, who owns a hockey league, he's going to go, look, I'm a silent investor anyway. I'm not involved. I'm going to cash in whatever you sell.
Not big bucks for them.
Who makes
it's Clear Lake? It's Clear Lake.
Right.
And this is why I was saying the longer this goes on, the more damaging it is for them. Because let's just play devil's advocate. If they were to cut it now, or let's say in a month from now, they sell their 62%, boom, that's now gone, and they've made astronomical amounts of money. The Clear Lake value brand increases, I don't know by how much, tenfold. The investor confidence that are with Clear Lake at the moment, all of them are going to be like, well, bloody hell, clearly these lot know what they're doing. Even in the midst of turmoil and in the midst of chaos, look what they've managed to pull off. It's a huge win for Clear Lake as an investment firm, right? But the longer it goes on...
Why did that? This is my question, right, with Rain Group and Bowley and everyone. Why did Clear Lake get 61.5%? See, this is the question you need to ask is, Are they the actual face of the UK government, so to speak? Are they actually the industry plant? They could well
Mate,
be.
if the government are in on this, I wouldn't put it past them, by the way, because there's always been a thing against Chelsea
Yeah, the
from
agenda's still there.
that side for time, right? Even before all this has kicked off. I wouldn't put it past them. But if they are, then they're going to try and get whatever they've tried to get, or their piece of the pie, or as you've said, that money that's sitting there somewhere in a bank that's not been sent to Ukraine. Everyone was told would be sent to Ukraine. It's not left yet. It's just sitting there collecting interest, and everyone's forgotten about it. And on top of that, if they have planted anyone in the club, these lot, and they're going to get their cut once these lot sell, then they're going to make astronomical amounts of money. You know, we might save the economy.
Correct. And one thing as well is what the billionaires have. They're known for it. They're absolutely known for it. And especially American billionaires, when you turn in terms of this situation, their egos are through the roof. No billionaire can be told what to do, right? Which is why they fell out with Tuchel, because Tuchel said you're not coming in the dressing room. Just as a simple example, they like to make call all the shots. So when you say Bowley's now promoting, for obviously PR reasons, that he wants to put professionals in the place, you could have done that from the start. You had every opportunity to do that from the start with Clearlake. But I always told everyone, Eghbali spoke when they just bought the club along with Feliciano, and they revealed their true colours and intentions, which was to lower the wage structure, not by experience, build business value. That's more important than winning or losing. All right. It was about a data analytical approach, and to take the model from NFL. And no one paid attention to it when I was telling everyone, right? Bowley doesn't go with that. He might have a little bit in terms of data and shit like that, but he likes to go and buy the big players and pay the big wages, and he likes the blockbuster Hollywood, limelight. He likes to be in the face of the public, all right. But he's been mugged off so bad, and I think the Osimhen deal was the final straw for him, where all this just came out. He said enough's enough. Because if you noticed, everyone was blaming Bowley, all the media platforms, Bowley. I went on TalkSport and I said, Clown Lake, and this is what I said, Clown Lake are worse than the Glazers. We have pocketed the worst owners in football. I've gone on TalkSport and said that.
Yep.
It's on my YouTube, right? For people that haven't seen it. Do you know what their title was on TalkSport? Bowley worse than the Glazers.
Yeah, it's always, to this day, I forgot who it was. They were talking about Clearlake, but they still titled it Bowley this and Bowley that, and it's all Bowley. And I'm just like, how many times does this need to be explained? It's not Bowley's Chelsea, but the perception from the outside, we all know when we're talking Chelsea and it's a Chelsea channel or it's a Chelsea Twitter page or whatever, everyone knows what's going on. But anyone on the exterior, everyone thinks Bowley. Even other YouTubers and whatnot that are non-Chelsea, like Bowley this, Bowley that. No one mentions Clearlake. Only up until now. Oh, yeah, no, we now know who Clearlake are. Well, it took you 3 years. Well done. So yeah, I've always found that bizarre. Always found that bizarre.
Ratings on Google's 2-star. They've been in existence since I think 2006 or 16. I need to do the research. I think they're a new company. Do you know what I'm saying? You can't find much on Eghbali, and you definitely can't find much on Feliciano. I'll tell you that now.
I know. Yeah.
Right? And when the ones that make themselves invisible, where you don't believe that they exist, are the ones that are a danger to you. Because
100%.
I've seen, and I know every journalist, tier one journalist, has been in their pocket. Every single one of them. Fabrizio Romano, Paulstein, Toothpick Jacobs. And funny enough, Toothpick Jacobs come out of the woodwork now. And what's he doing? He's talking about the ownership. He's talking about the situation. He's milking it, bruv. And he's got the supporters on strings because they're all waiting for him to feed them information of what's going on. And they think that this is going to be like a transfer window, of just buying and selling players. which, by the way, they couldn't sell how many players before deadline day. The Osimhen deal, do you know much about it, Eunice? Did you watch my stream, by the way?
Not the whole thing. Not the whole thing.
Right. Well, I'll put it in simple terms. They lowballed him. The deal was actually that 70 grand a week after tax. All right. That was the first. And the second offer before that took it up to 150. All right. And then they added some few little bonuses, but it was 150. And Enzo Maresca apparently lost his fucking head because he tried to contact him during the week. And Osimhen said to him, listen, until your owners make and show value and make an offer, then there's no point in us talking. But he felt so insulted and disrespected because he waited. And like I said to everyone, he was dressed in a Chelsea kit, full wanker. Let's have it, full kit wanker. Osimhen was waiting on deadline day. You know what I'm saying? Ready to be the number 9 at Chelsea. And they didn't stump it up. They were lowballing him, playing hardball, knowing that he wants out. And let's have it right. The next day, after deadline day, they said, we'll pay you what you want for January. And he said, no chance, see you later. Now, the funny thing is, right, he was prepared to take a skimming off what he was on at Napoli.
Yeah.
They slashed that. They slashed what he's on. So we're talking half of 250 grand. Is that ambition? No.
That's outrageous. If they've offered that and it's so low, then that's an insult. It's an insult.
So who's going to get the blame is my point. No one knows Bailey was there. Bailey was there, bruv. With Win Stanley and Stewart. They were there. They were negotiating. And the executives were spearheading for who? Clearlake.
Of course.
Bailey was just there to be the, hey, guys. Yeah. We won you, Osimhen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think Bowley would have paid the money.
If it was his decision completely, I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
He got mugged off, and I think this was the catalyst. And now Mikel he's disappointed me, bruv. He's a legend.
Mate.
He's just like, what are you doing, geezer? You're talking about Chelsea being back to where they should be. You talk about players in the dressing room. You know, the players now, they're all pony. They can't be told, they can't be told straight. You know, you've been shit. You need to up your levels. When they come into this team, into this squad, you haven't got generals waiting for you for them lot to be shitting bricks and knowing they got up their levels and feeling like they think they're a decent player into making themselves go, no, I need to up my game to get into this team. There's none of that. There's no mentality. No. And the only mentality we got left is the no surrender mentality with the supporters and the proper Chels. And we need to spearhead, beachhead, and streamline, trust the protest. Because that's the only thing that will quickly eliminate anything that they got planned in terms of brown envelope PR, manipulating, biding more time. You know, that's the only thing we got, Eunice, bruv.
100%. I think now it's more time now than ever. Do you know what I mean? Because, like I said before, it's not just the owners trying to manipulate the fan base now. It's the owners fighting each other. They're distracted. They're distracted completely. So,
I see you got an admirer in there, Eunice.
The same admirer you've had for weeks, isn't it?
You got the Wagwan Donald Cullen. Yeah. She says, Mr. Eunice, God must have taken extra time to feel the beauty and glamour in you. You got to take your slosh pot. You got to take your slosh pot. On a note, we had this discussion, didn't we, back the other day? What would we do at Chelsea? No, I know what we would do. Let's have
Oh,
it right.
mate.
But Eunice made a great point, bruv. Great point. Yeah. One of the things Eunice said was he would sign off Strasbourg to the Ultra Boy 90s. Yeah.
Mate, I'd send it back to them.
Give it back.
I'd be like, lads, do you want your club back? Yeah, go on, give us £1. You can have it. We can have like a photo shoot after it's done, you know, Strasbourg Ultras, and you got all of us lot with Chelsea, and just, you know, have a nice, you know, French English dinner together, and they can take their club back. I think they'd be very happy.
They'll be very happy. But do you know what
we don't need Strasbourg.
We would give every brown envelope a lifetime ban from reporting on our football club.
Yeah, that's it. They ain't coming in.
Yeah, we'll bring back Tommy T or Jose Goat. We would bring
Instantly.
back Neil Barth, Jim Frey. We would restore everything, and we would want the backing of Roman Abramovich. Let's have it right. Yeah, if we took over.
100%.
We'd have Stone
100%.
Island as a sponsor. 100%.
You know what? We can bring in Roman as a non-executive club advisor.
Yeah.
So he's not even on the payroll, but he's linked in some sort of way. There we are. No sanction can come after us for that. Yeah. So we're good.
And I'm definitely bringing back my sweetheart Marina. She's coming back. Marina's coming back. I don't care what anyone tells me. The Iron Lady needs to come and land minerals. Yeah. Bring her back.
Go on. I'll leave you two in a room together.
We'll negotiate. On minerals terms. We would also broadcast everything on our YouTube channel.
Pre-season games, friendlies, all that for free. You don't have to pay $4.99. It's free on here.
Yeah, free.
Right. So and don't worry, there won't be any technical issues because YouTube know what they're doing.
Yeah. And we would bring the ultras. We'd have the ultras involved. You know what I'm saying? All the ultras would be involved, and we'd make sure CPO remains. You know what I'm saying,
mate? CPO. We'll start a new fan advisory board, except it will actually be proper fans. So all of you lot are invited.
Proper fans, 100%. We'd build a statue for Roman.
Completely.
And I'm bringing back Mason Mount, signing him on a 10-year contract, defo contract.
I'll give you that one. You can have that.
Neil's Mount coming back, and I'll ban Slosh Pot Wet from games. She's getting banned. OnlyFans.
Nico won't be happy.
Yeah, that's it, bruv. You know what I'm saying. And no prawn eating sandwich merchants.
Oh yeah. Westview shuts immediately. Restore the West End.
Come on. And Emma Hayes got to come back.
Yeah, if she wants, she's welcome back. She can. Yeah. I mean, I got to say, because the women's team, they seem to be doing things properly, right? I like this new manager that they've got, Bompasta. She seems like she knows what she's doing, and obviously she's a Champions League winner and all that. She does, but she's pretty cool. But when that's up and it's done, Emma Hayes first priority. You're coming back.
100% she's coming back. Havertz as well. I'll bring Havertz. Of course I'll bring Havertz. In fact, I would bring Thiago Silva, who was back at Cobham today. It's lovely to see him at Cobham. Legend.
He was, yeah.
He would be involved in absolutely so many things when it comes to being at the club, being a part of the club. You know, we want that mentality of the football club, you know. And I'd want Didier Drogba and at the club as well. You know what I'm saying? We would bring our heritage, you know what I'm saying? We'll bring Pat Nevin as well, man. Fucking hell, what are we doing here, bruv? Let's get Pat Nevin back in the club. Crying out loud. But yeah, just a little thing, you know, something light-hearted for us. We can only dream, you know what I'm saying? Big up to Brian. He says, Eunice, we need Habibi with C notes for these clowns.
I might have to go out and, you know, put the whole shebang on and start acting proper Habibi, proper Arab out here and start making some genuine connections, because Yeah, we got to find a new buyer. And there's got to be one geezer in this country that can do it. So I'll try and find him.
Oh, we got the Forest dances. Can you do goldfish like a virgin, Johnny? Like a virgin. Brown envelopes next to mine. Like a virgin. Ekbali. Feliciano. Oh, mine. Yeah. All right. So big up the
Madonna the
clown lake.
chain.
He says, Kite who asked them showed us everything about these clowns. Well, I think just everything. Trev, Chalobah, Gallagher, Mount, Kai, Kovacic, selling to rivals. You know, it's disgraceful. You know what the other thing I've just thought of? They always go, oh, Roman sold to rivals. Would he sell his prime players to rivals?
No.
Or players coming to their prime? No.
No, players at their end.
There you go. He fought tooth and nail for Kai Havertz. He wanted to build the team around Mason Mount. That was his academy boy, bruv. Right? He loved these players. Yeah? He wouldn't have just sold them. No chance. Don't want to hear the waffle. Big up to Brian. Says Clown Lakes Consortium is in the bin. Let's have it right. Big up to Abdullah. Al Abdullah Teef lands a super mineral sticker. Respect to you, my geezer. Big up Brian. Says Clown Lakes Consortium are trash at football. I mean, they all are. Even Bowley. Like, what's their track record? What's their track record in anything that they do? They haven't got one. You know what I'm saying? But listen, big up to everyone in here. Please smash the like button. Likes are poor. Let's get the likes up. Hit the subscribe as well. And to Eunice. What have you got coming up, Eunice?
So brand new video up earlier on. There will be another one later tonight because I've got to shoot and I've got to do something in between. Then after that, I'm going to try and get a video out, especially after this whole stadium nonsense that's come out. And whatever pops up, I'll give my thoughts on it. So there's that. And then keeping up with the news up until when we got to play Bournemouth. And then the preview, review, all that malarkey will be coming out. So that's it.
Superb. I've got, where's it gone? F1 says, do football therapy and failed actor Jennings. I'll do that for you very quickly. So I hope everyone's doing really, really well today. Chelsea and Clown Lake, civil war, but it's okay. I can see all the positives, and Bowley I'm siding with Bowley, but I really think that Clear Lake are amazing at what they've done, you know. So please keep your positivity today, and that's the background. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Really, respect to everyone, bruv. Respect to everyone. Big up to all of you ultras, bruv. All the proper Chels. I'm going to announce what's coming up, which has got a redirection on this stream. I'm doing a stream with Football Heritage Steve G called Chelsea's Football Factory, which is going to be the first of many episodes. But this one, we're going to run through 5 decades of Chelsea and the firm. So this is a proper insight to true Chelsea heritage, what it was like, the truth, and also to wake up supporters of this generation to understand what Chelsea was all about. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you tune into that, which will be at 7:00 tonight, or 40 minutes away. So it's going to be a banger. So big up to everyone. Big up to everyone. Anything else, Eunice? And we will say it.
No, that's it. That show will be cracking, so definitely do tune in. Big up to everyone in the chat, and on to the next one. So yeah, much respect to everyone that's joined in, and yeah, we're looking forward to doing this again, mate.
Big up, Eunice. We'll do many more. There's going to be plenty to talk about, and lovely to have you on.
Cheers, mate.
And speak the truth. It's elite, bruv. Like our football club. So have it right. So big up to everyone. Smash the like button, hit the subscribe button. Up the Chels, up the Minerals FC, up Eunice Talks Minerals. Let's have it right. Clown Lake out. No surrender. We leave you, Don Roman. Big up Petey, my geezer, becoming Mills FC Ultra member. And salute to our Don Roman, bruv, greatest owner in the history of football. And to all of the Ultras and proper Chels. Let's go.
Roman Abramovich! Roman Abramovich! Roman Abramovich! Roman Abramovich! Roman Abramovich! Roman Abramovich! Roman Abramovich!